You're the response.
Get some chairs.
No, I'm not. No, let's see what happens if she shows up in Phoenix and then don't tell me what the true competition is. Gosh, I've never seen so many people.
Oh, it's always for the Arbor Day thing.
Well, we used to have chairs over here. And they, oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh, I can only imagine. Small one. Well, I guess now when you get so capacity, that should be a vocal presence and not on the voice.
If you can make one, you have one.
Well, as things get.
You're out and
Oh, that's
about.
okay, brother. Thank you, man.
Well, once Katie's done cleaning up all
Been a long
the
road,
oopsie
huh?
messes, there won't be as many policy things and ordinances to fix. I think she's done a pretty good job getting those all cleaned up. Should be better.
Is that how that works? She gets a hug, but I
Where's
don't.
Alexis? Alexis isn't here. Where's Alexis?
I love your,
I don't know.
your bedazzles. They're really pretty.
You ain't dreaming. Actually, my sons and daughters. Laura, here's the rest of your papers. Oh, okay, thank you.
Give everybody another minute to get situated here.
And she was going 1 minute, 1 minute. We're good.
All right, everybody ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right, it is now 6:30. I'd like to call this meeting to order dated April 16th, 2024. Roll call, please.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Here.
Trustee Hartz. Trustee Moreland.
Here.
Trustee Thomas.
Here.
Trustee Wolf. Here. Trustee Ah. Here. And Mayor Tarkington.
Here. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? All right. Does the board have any conflicts of interest to announce at this time? Seeing none, we will move on to public input. If any members of the audience would like to address the board, please state your name and address for the record, if it's anything not pertaining to items on the current agenda. All right. All right. Does the current board did they have a chance to look at the agenda?
Yes.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll
Second.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
Trustee Ah.
Yes.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes. All right. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge and honor our first grade Arbor Day poster contest winners. I'm going to first start with our honorable mentions, and if you're in the audience, please step forward. We do have a prize for you, and we'd love to give you a round of applause. So I'm looking for Octavia Pearson, Axel Carbajal Lazo, and Tobias Powers. Please come up. Come on up to the front of the room.
It's okay.
Yay.
This is Tobias.
Axel, are you here? Come on, Axel.
Hey!
Hey, let me see, Tobias. Oh, nice job. Congratulations. Yay.
Okay. And in third place, we have Miss Layla Stroud.
Hey.
then in second place, we have Lucy Carico. And our overall winner in first place with that masterpiece, Wesley Morse. All right. And we want to thank you all for your participation and involvement. I'll allow you this time to go ahead and vacate the meeting unless you want to stick around for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Get to practice. Get to practice. They need you.
What, practice?
Good night.
That's cute. I love the poster contest. All right. At this time, I'll pause the regular scheduled meeting and open up the public hearing on the 2024 budget supplement number 1. Are we ready? Sorry.
So just a brief outline of most of these items in budget supplement number 1 were items that we assumed that we could have finished in 2023. However, as time went by and the snowstorm we had in November kind of delayed most of these. And of course, we're waiting for parts and other things in engineering to be finished. So that's the majority of those. Our firewall was upgraded as well. We had a snow plow that came over budget, $2,900. And the rest of those are, the stormwater study also was not complete at the end of 2023. So that's why most of these items are in budget supplement number 1. And this is a time for the public to speak, to hear the public.
Well, public, that is your invitation to speak on this topic if you so wish to. Does the board have any questions or needed clarification?
No.
All right, then I will go ahead and close the public hearing. We'll get back to our regular scheduled program. Did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes from April 1st, 2024?
Yes, I did. Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the April 1st, 2024 meeting minutes.
I'll second.
All right, roll call.
Trustee Zazzaro,
Yes.
Trustee Moreland,
Yes.
Trustee Thomas,
Yes.
Trustee Wolf,
Yes.
Trustee Ah,
Yay.
and Mayor Tarkington.
Yes. All right, we'll move on to our department reports. Jeremy, would you like to highlight your Public Works report?
Yeah, good evening, Madam Mayor, trustees. I did prepare a March staff report. So it looks like we had 72 one-call tickets in the month of March. We did have a water leak over, Pine River Shares building. That service line was leaking. That was dug up and repaired. We did have a sewer call backup on Mountain View Drive. That was cleared. That was on the town side, so we did have to get a jet router out, but that was done during normal operation, so no overtime there. Irrigation ditches, they should be coming on probably May 1st, right around there. And yeah, streets and right-of-ways, really not a whole lot. We're putting away snow equipment, getting out weed mitigation equipment. Yeah, in March, me and John House were at the CRWA conference. Went over a lot, regulations, new lead copper rule, backflow, all that exciting stuff like that. And we are using DOT, Eclipse DOT for our driver files. So that's being updated and we're using a contract operator. One thing I would like to point out is on the water production. I'm not sure why, but when you look at the sewer plant flows for the entire month, it says January. So we're not in January anymore. It is March. So I'm going to figure out what exactly happened there. And then I did provide a report for, or actually a map for the surface treatment this year. Hopefully we can put this out a bid and get favorable pricing, but we would want to do a large chip seal project versus the slurry seal we've been doing for the last 2 or 3 years. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you guys had questions.
Any questions from the board? Well, thank you, Jeremy.
Thanks.
All right, Chief Hogay, the police report.
Madam Mayor, Board, Town Manager, and everybody else that showed up to see my report tonight, thank you. March was a very busy month for the police department as far as training, equipment installation. Spillman's in place. We are still working some bugs out still, but we are utilizing it minimally right now, but it is working. The utility body-worn camera, in-car camera system is working flawlessly, and it's a very, very great system for us to have in town. So if you want to see some of the new implementations of all of our equipment, please just get with me and see what we are doing now with the police department. The phase 1 of the pistol program has started. We will do qualifications later this month, so everybody is on the same platform. That will get us in line with what the county's doing as our primary backup, and we are their primary backup. We will have the same platforms now. Calls for service. We are still working through the bugs and try to get data out of Spillman. I got to do a class with one of their managers up there to make sure I'm extracting things right, so hopefully by the next month I'll have all the stats correctly when I do my report. As far as recruitment, we did test someone Monday. They passed the test. He is in the academy now, so hopefully things work out. If he does, he'll graduate June 2nd and hopefully start with us not too far after, but he's still got a couple things, hurdles to go through. But we are looking, he tested very well too. The other thing is we recently opened up the school resource officer position due to the fact that Sergeant Strissel's demands have really stretched him thin and kind of took him a little bit away from the school a lot. And so we wanted to make sure that we did have a full-blown SRO in there all the time. And so we opened it up. They are going to go through an interview process with the superintendent, a couple principals, and Dustin to make sure the next candidate fits what we really need as a community and the school is happy. As we go into April right now, we are cleaning up a lot of the stuff that we went through in March. We've a lot of case reports, a lot of them that I can't discuss, but the officers are busy doing a lot of investigations. And so they are also busy out making sure that traffic safety enforcement is going. We are doing a lot of things we had a meeting with CDOT to try to make sure we're expanding upon the town's needs as we build a new intersection. And so we are doing a lot of different things as an office, and we want to make sure that the town knows how well we are trying to really establish us as your police department. So if you have any questions or anything, feel free to stop by and visit what we're doing. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicole, community development.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the board. What I wanted to do for this month was just give you a quarterly update since we ended our first quarter of 2024 and what we had going on in development review. I won't go through it all in detail, but programs that we're working on, our grant funded projects, and then what land use projects that we processed in the first quarter of 2024, as well as just an outline of the building permits that we received so far. Usually 2024, first quarter is the lowest of building
Questions for Nicole?
I'd like to say thank you to either whoever it was who mediated the road on Louisiana and Hickory that had the dip. I think I heard from the majority of my HOA on that, and it was fixed. So I'm sorry, I thought it might have been during your report that I should have said something, but looking at you made me think of it.
And that's a temporary repair. It'll be a permanent path once they put in the new subdivision.
Coming in
Yes.
June, right? They're gonna pave it in June.
I don't know when that is. I'm just happy
I don't have a hard date.
as long as it doesn't.
All right. Thank you, Nicole. All right, we're moving on to our financial agenda. Do we have any public input pertaining to items 5A through E on the agenda? Seeing none, we will move on to the March 2024 financial statement. Kathy?
Good evening. Well, the first quarter of the year is over, and there's not a whole lot to report. I mean, we haven't had a whole lot of expenses, but we have seen our first deposit for January sales tax came in the month of March. We're 2 months behind on that collection. So that has come in, as well as our city sales tax, and we got another round of property tax that came in. Youth programs and facility rentals are already trending very high, so I expect to see those do very well throughout the year. We've received our first quarterly payment of lottery funds in the Conservation Trust. Monthly sewer funds are trending as expected, and plant investment fees in the sewer fund are a little more than expected at this point. We have expended another almost $46,000 of our capital improvement funds in the general fund. The police department made the purchase of their pistols for their pistol program. Mark's department purchased the shade trees, the bear-proof trash cans, and their mower deck. Our penalties and interest are already trending really high, so we're already collecting a lot of penalties and interest on late payments. That seems to be the norm. Overtime is trending a little high in the police and sewer departments. I'm not exactly sure why. Once the budget supplement is passed this evening to cover the last year's expenses, all the funds will be operating within their budgets and doing well. Total interest in the month of March for the College Trust accounts was a little over $48,000, so that's doing well. Sales tax is trending as high as usual. I do want to take this opportunity to say thank you. Last Friday, Katie, Town Manager Sickles, and the leadership team stayed on Friday afternoon and offered kind of a little class or learning experience for anybody that wanted to attend as far as board members go. Trustee Hartz came, as well as two incoming trustees, Kat Castles and Laura McLaurin, came, and we kind of gave them a update on how to read the budget, how to read a finance statement, that kind of stuff. So I really appreciate them coming and listening to us. And I want to let everyone else know that anytime you want to talk about the budget or the finance statements, you're welcome to stop by my office. My door's always open for that. That's it.
Do we have any questions on the March 2024 financial statement? I would entertain a motion to approve.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the March 2024 financial statement.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
Trustee Ah.
Yay.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes. As Kathy mentioned, sales tax report is in your packet. It is trending in positive. And then we'll move on to Resolution 611, the 2024 Budget Supplement Number 1. That was just discussed in your public hearing. If there are no further questions or clarification needed on that, I would also entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 611.
I'll second that.
All right, roll call.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
Trustee Ah.
Yay.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes. All right, we're going to move on to the shade structure for the Mesa Playground.
Madam Mayor, Board of Trustees, so yes, we have an estimate for both playgrounds that meets the budget of $50,000. We'll be negotiating with them, but they
Do we have any questions for Mark? I mean, obviously, this has come back to the board now twice. It's up to this sitting board if you want to make the move on this, or if you feel this is something that should be redirected to the incoming board. I mean, my fear a little bit is that the prices are going to go up on things, and then we're going to have to come back on this, so,
And you negotiated that down pretty well.
yeah.
You got it
Wasn't
on
that
the
within
budget.
the budgeted
Mhm.
amount? Okay.
Yep.
I see no reason why we couldn't make a decision tonight.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Pro Playgrounds quote for $50,000.
I'll second that.
All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
Trustee Hart. Cancel that. Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
Trustee Ah.
Yay.
And Mayor Tarkenton.
Yes, and thank you, Mark, for all your
Yeah,
legwork.
good
on
job.
that.
Good job getting it down.
Thank you, guys.
All right, moving on to the shared use path.
So I was hoping to have a proposal for construction management at this time. I still don't have anything. I do have a qualified engineering company that is interested in doing a quote, but they're having trouble getting Troutner to give them quotes. So I don't have anything for the board tonight as far as construction management. I do want to say that you know, we need to move forward. I passed out these sheets. Basically, these are all the forms that we need to have to get it to CDOT, even for them to consider awarding it. They have to see all these forms as well. So we're kind of at a point where this is some work. We've already spent a lot of effort up to this point on this project. But of course, this could be something that you pass on to the next board because it will be additional sidewalk funds that you actually have in the budget. So it doesn't require another budget supplement, but it may be something that you decide to defer tonight.
Yeah, I think this would be an item for the new board.
Mm-hmm. We don't have all the pieces yet.
I'd entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to table and forward to the Board of Trustees that it will be sworn in shortly.
A second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
Trustee Ah.
Yay.
And Mayor Tarkenton.
Yes. All right, we're moving on to our current board action. Does anybody have any public input on 6A from the audience? Seeing none, we'll move on to Resolution 612, our noxious weed management plan. And I think we've been over this, we've had discussions, and once again, I believe this is I think this is something we should also forward on to the new board for a decision.
So I'm assuming that, do you have a staff report? That's up to the mayor.
Or should it just be with the new board so they can revisit that?
That's your call.
Yeah, I would save that for the new board so that it's fresh. I know, sorry, you've been working on that for a long time too. So I'd entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to table and forward to the Board of Trustees that will be sworn in shortly, Resolution 612 Noxious Weed Management Plan.
Second.
All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
Trustee Ah.
Yay.
And Mayor Tarkenton.
Yes. And it's now time to switch over.
So we have a couple plaques to give the departing trustees and our mayor. So Charlene Thomas, you were sworn in on May 2nd, 2023. Thank you for stepping up. We are a statutory town, and if somebody doesn't consider getting appointed, kind of these mid-years, we actually have to have an election. So anyway, here is a plaque. So same thing with Kyle. Kyle stepped up. He was sworn in February 7th of 2023. And I really want to thank you for stepping up in your role. We heard that you were on a great vacation a couple of weeks ago, so maybe some other things in store. So presented to Kyle Wolf, thank you for your service and dedication to the town of Bayfield. So to Lori Zazzaro, you've had quite a couple 4 years. You were actually elected during our pandemic election out here in the parking lot in 2020. That was my first experience with a parking lot election voting center. So as trustee 2020 to 2024, you tackled more than your share of challenges. Your service is appreciated, Town of Bayfield, April 16th, 2020. And to our mayor, Ashley Tarkington, I think you were sworn in basically via Zoom.
I was.
I think you were the only one here. I think there were maybe 2 other people in the room when you were sworn in. So presented to Ashley Tarkington, thank you for your passionate service and dedication to the town of Bayfield as mayor.
Thank you. It's been an absolute honor and a privilege, and I just good luck to this new board and to staff. I have enjoyed getting to know you and working with you this past 6 years. So, good luck, everybody.
Yeah, I'll make sure.
I'm gonna leave my computer right there.
That's the only mine right up here. I'll hang on to it.
I'll see you all at happy hour.
Okay.
See you, Lori. Take her easy. All right. I like the corner though. Like the storage units.
What I like is that I don't have to be right in front of me.
Oh yeah.
We'll let our chief get back in here. So, Judge Davlin, I'm going to call you up to the front. And we have Kat Katzos, who is via Zoom. So you can start with that swearing in ceremony.
We'll start with this Katzos. Good evening, Ms. Katzos. I'm going to swear you in, okay? Can you hear me? All right, please raise your right hand. I, Kat Katzos, do solemnly swear.
I, Kat Katzos, do solemnly swear
That I will support the Constitution of the United States of America.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
The Constitution of the State of Colorado. And the ordinances of the town of Bayfield, Colorado. That I will bear faith and allegiance to the same. that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservations or purpose of evasion.
That I will take this
That I will well and faithfully perform the duties of the office to which I have been elected. Well, congratulations on being elected to the Board of Trustees. Guess we'll go with Mr. Mayor next. Well, probably have to stand up. You can stand there. It doesn't, whatever, I mean, yeah.
Pictures.
That's what I'm trying to avoid.
Almost too.
Okay. Mr. All, please raise your right hand. Oh, well, I'll keep it short for you. I, Thomas E. All, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution of the State of Colorado, and the ordinances of the town of Bayfield, Colorado, that I will bear faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservations or purpose of evasion. Let's start over. That I take this obligation freely without mental reservations or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of the office to which I have been elected. Congratulations, Mayor. Mr. Nyberg. Please raise your right hand. I, Matthew Nyberg, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution of the State of Colorado, and the ordinances of the town of Bayfield, Colorado, that I will bear faith and allegiance to the same, and faith, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservations or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of the office to which I have been elected. Congratulations. Ms. McLaren. Please raise your right hand. I, Laura McLaren. McLaurin, excuse me. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States of America.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States of America.
The Constitution of the State of Colorado.
Constitution of the State of Colorado.
And the ordinances of the town of Bayfield.
And the ordinances of the town of Bayfield.
That I will bear faith and allegiance to the same.
I will bear faith and allegiance to the same.
That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservations or purpose of evasion.
I take this obligation freely without purpose of.
Let's start it over with mental, without any mental reservations.
Without any mental reservations.
Or purpose of evasion.
Or purpose of evasion.
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of the office to which I have been elected. Congratulations, Mr. McLaren. Mr. Snooks. Sorry. I'll keep it slow. Okay. Just raise your right hand and follow after me, Cash, or Mr. Snooks. I, Cash D. Snooks,
I, Cash D. Snooks,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the ordinances of the town of Bayfield, Colorado,
and the ordinance of the town of Bayfield, Colorado,
that I will bear faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservations or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservations or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
well and faithfully perform
the duties of the office to which I have been elected.
the duties to the office of which I have been elected.
Congratulations.
I just want to say congratulations to our new board members. Welcome aboard.
I'll second that.
I got to figure out where we're starting.
Thank you.
We're going back again, so now we're going to, does any of the board members have a conflict of interest on what's left to discuss?
I do. Find it here. Block 10, item B. I believe my company has the opportunity to be involved in that, so I will have to recuse myself from that.
Okay. You'll have to go up in the hallway.
Yep.
Any other conflicts? I lost my spot. We'll have another general public input, if anyone has anything they'd like to say.
Luann Wilson, 1591 County Road 526. Could you guys please speak into your microphones or loud enough to be heard? Thank you.
Good evening, Brian Blanchard, 627 Louisiana. I just want to reiterate what I've always said from the get-go when I started getting involved with the meetings is all I ask is that you pay particular attention to what's best for the town and what's best for its citizens, always in whatever you do and vote on. Thank you.
I'm sure you don't know me. Phyllis Ludwig, 9205 County Road 521. I just want to welcome all of you on the board. I don't live in town, but I do business in town. My grandkids go to school in town, and I respect what the board does for the town of Bayfield. So I want to welcome you all, and I know you'll do a good job for us. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other public input? Okay, moving on. As soon as I can read it. Is there any other public input on any of the agenda items?
Further down on the agenda, on 9E.
9E?
Yes, it's talking about liaison positions. And we've in the past had liaisons for the senior center. And our president isn't able to be here, the president of the board. She asked me to read a short letter to you if I could.
Sure.
Okay, it says, as a representative, president of the Pine River Valley Senior Center, the consensus is, since we have Carrie as our coordinator and she shares information from the town at our meetings, and other board members come to the senior center on a fairly regular basis, we feel we do not need additional town board representation. Of course, you are all welcome to attend. Just call me so I can put you on the agenda. Thank you. And that is from, excuse me, N. Rudolph. And Carrie does a good job, letting us know what the board's doing, and then she brings back the information to the town. Of course, anybody from the town is welcome to come at any time. And we'll even foot the bill for the lunch if they want to stay for lunch. Thank you.
Well, we might take you up on that. Any other public input? Okay, I'm going to read a proclamation for Arbor Day. Proclamation, in accordance with the established custom of setting apart a day in the spring for the planting of trees, I do designate April 25th, 2024 Arbor Day in the town of Bayfield, Colorado. Arbor Day is not just another holiday, it's a promise to future generations to enrich our community with trees that will be a source of beauty and joy in our lives for years to come. In 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. By observing Arbor Day, we demonstrate to all the value we place in trees in our community. The Tree Board will celebrate Arbor Day on April 25th, 2024 at 10 a.m. at Eagle Park with the Bayfield kindergartners. The Tree Board with staff will plant plum crowder, I don't even know what that one is, Zolwaco green base, and sensation box elder trees in celebration of Arbor Day. This day is the day we celebrate trees in our community, and I urge all citizens to plant trees as a way to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future Bayfield generations. Given under my hand on the 16th day of April 2024, Thomas All, Mayor, Town of Bayfield. We're going to do an orientation now for the new board members. I guess we're going to start with Attorney Goldman.
Can I approach the dais?
Absolutely.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, trustees. Welcome, everyone. Trustee Katsos, can you hear me okay? Great. Yeah, so I assume many of you, some of you actually been through this before, you've been trustees and so forth. Generally, everything we do is generally in public. The law requires that when you guys are sitting as a body and you're talking about stuff and you're voting on things and you're deciding policy, all that happens in public. There are very, very rare exceptions where you, as a board, will want to meet in executive session. And when you meet in executive session, those matters are not public. And the law allows for you to meet in executive session under very strict circumstances. And those circumstances are generally to receive legal advice from your attorney, to discuss personnel matters concerning those that work for the town of Bayfield and so forth. However, even under that exception, you have to give notice to the employee or the person that is the subject of the personnel matter so as to give them an opportunity to decide whether or not they want you to go into executive session to talk about them or to actually have that aired publicly. There are other exceptions, such as to discuss negotiating tactics, whether you're talking about a contract with somebody and you want to give some leadership or direction to maybe your town manager with regards to negotiating tactics to discuss that contract. There's also an opportunity to go in executive session when you're discussing matters concerning real estate and negotiating for the possibility of a purchase or sale of real estate. Those are generally the 4 exceptions that you will be involved with. There are other exceptions, but they're very rare. It's also very rare that you're going to go into executive session. In my time as your attorney for the last 5 or 6 years, I think we've gone into executive session 4 times. And generally, again, that's generally to discuss a very specific legal matter that you guys have questions on and you don't want that legal advice to be aired publicly. Generally, when you go to an attorney, your relationship with your attorney is generally confidential and you expect it to be confidential. Same thing when we're working together as a board and you want legal direction, you'll go into executive session. The other times is when you are just talking about personnel matters, and that's generally when you're going to go into executive session. Executive session just doesn't happen on the fly. It has to be noticed. We have to give the public advance notice before we go into executive session. So generally, if there is a need to go into executive session, someone is planning on making a motion to go into executive session at the next regularly scheduled meeting or at some special meeting, to give the town manager or the town attorney a heads up in advance so that we can get it on the agenda to notify the public that we're going to go into executive session as a part of the agenda, and to try and give the public as much information about the reasons why we might go into executive session. That's required under the law, not to discuss specifics of the executive session, but at least what's the reason for going into the executive session? What's the, good evening. What's the reason for going into the executive session, and what's the statutory basis for it? So generally, we want to provide notice. However, there are times when we're in our meetings and something comes up and you feel that it's important to discuss something, perhaps with your attorney, and you want that done outside the view of the public. Someone will make that motion, and it's got to be seconded, of course, and then it's got to be voted on, and it's got to pass the majority of a quorum that's present, okay? So in order to go in executive session, it can't just be one person. It's got to be basically a majority of the folks present that decide, yes, I'd like to go in executive session to discuss that specific topic and under the statutory basis that is allowed to go in. So what we're going to do is we'll put on the agenda generally that we may go into executive session for the following reasons. Doesn't mean we're going to go into executive session. It's just, it gives you an opportunity to make that motion. But again, I would caution you to just use it as a common tool, because again, all meetings should be done in public. All decisions should be made in public. All policy should generally be developed in public. And again, and those sorts of things should not happen in executive session. No decisions are to be made in executive session. Again, you're there to either receive legal advice or give direction with regards to negotiations or discuss personnel matters. To the extent there's any sort of consensus that's developed in executive session, we need to come out of the executive session. We need to announce to the public essentially what direction the board is taking based upon some sort of public vote that you then take after each session. There's also, if we go into each session, there's a number of announcements that have to be made, and all those announcements are generally drafted and already written so that in the event you want to go into executive session, we have those templates for you to use if you want to use them. And it's important that we do use them so that we're following the law each and every time we do that. Are there any questions it's just really brief and basic. Just wanted to run that by you guys. And welcome. Thanks.
I don't know what's going on with the Sursa video. Are we still, go ahead.
So there was a link to a YouTube. Basically, Sam Light provided about 17 minutes of information about, what elected officials are part of and what they should probably avoid. There's also a booklet. I gave a paper copy to Laura, and if any other trustee would like a paper copy, I'm certainly happy to provide that to any one of you. I believe that the Mancus is also having Sam Light do a training in Mancus, and Mancus has invited you to dinner. So if you are interested in going, please let me know so that we can make sure that they have enough food for the Bayfield trustees, and the town does cover your mileage to Mancus, so if you have interest.
And Sam Light is a really great resource. If you have the opportunity to listen to him on subjects of public meetings and so forth, he's wonderful. So won't be a wasted trip if you head over there.
So there is a Colorado Municipal League Conference, June 18th to 21st. I don't know who's interested in going from the board.
I am.
So I got Alexis, Laura.
I'm a maybe at this.
Okay.
I got to find out a date of something else going on.
Okay, and typically, because that date falls on the same time as your meeting, you have a meeting on Monday night versus that Tuesday night. So just FYI, that helps you get there to Loveland in time.
When is the Mancus training?
I'm sorry?
When is the Mancus training?
It's the 15th of May, so it's a Monday night.
Katie, what's the latest I can let you know about that Colorado Municipal League Conference?
It's hotel reservations that are the toughest. So let's put it this way. You can probably be late almost a week before the conference, but you may be traveling from a hotel back and forth, a longer distance than walking. So that's the only drawback of waiting.
Okay. I'll send you an email about competition, and I can follow up with you then. Or I'm wondering about the hotel reservations. If, a lot of times if you cancel them, a few days in advance, then you're not held responsible for that. Do you know if that's true?
Typically, it's because they're booked. So that's typically the issue, is that the longer you wait for a hotel room, the further you're going to have to drive on a daily basis back and forth.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So next up is the name tags and desk nameplates, etc.
So we wanted to make sure that when we give you a name tag or your desk plate, that it is what you want it to say. Just because that we're going to order probably everybody's duplicate again. So if you just want to make sure you write your name down, even if there's a changes for the continuing trustees, if there's something different you want, we'll just make sure that it's updated. There's a lot of nameplates and name tags, and we want to make sure the minutes are reflecting the name that you want on those minutes. So if you can just write that in and leave it at the dais, we'll be happy to pick it up and get those ordered.
Next up is committees, vacancies that need to be filled, liaison positions, et cetera. Looking for my list.
88. Page 88. 88 in the PDF.
Yeah, I'm going back and forth now.
So I hear that the Pine River Senior Citizen Board is not interested in a liaison, which is fine. I think that some of these other committee assignments, La Plata County Economic Alliance Board is vacant by elected official. Southwest TPR, actually, the two members, I'm the main member, and then Community Development Director Killian is the alternate. If you're interested in going, we are working with the Southwest TPR regarding our east lighted intersection at some point, so there's a lot of things going on there. The RHA, Regional Housing Alliance, Trustee Moreland is your elected official, and I am also on that board. And then when I can't attend, Community Development Killian will attend in my place. So it's not been a problem. We'd love somebody on the tree board. Nicole Lawton dropped off. She felt that she wasn't doing anything, and in my experience with tree boards, typically it's been really led by community members or elected officials. Right now, I do know that staff is kind of directing and leading that, but we're happy to turn that over to a community member. And then the last one, you may notice that someday we're going to get the east gateway done at Mill Street, and then the west gateway is already finished. It's a lot more complex in the middle of Mill Street. So I'd like to put together a committee, and after attending Downtown Colorado Incorporated last week, I think there's a lot of opportunities for funding and free funding, especially to put concepts together. So I'd like to look for about 7 members that of either businesses or residents that are on Mill Street, and then find 1 or 2 trustees that would like to be part of that. So that could take a good year and a half just to get a concept kind of worked out or gone through. And keep in mind, there's a lot of supports. I know we have a lot of complaints about sidewalks in front of tequilas, but they have supports and fencing and outdoor dining, and we have a lot of other businesses that have supports that are in the sidewalk as well. So, it's really important to get this community committee together and work out a concept. I have dealt with supports in the sidewalk before, in a Main Street revitalization program. And then you have to be considerate of their business, because you don't want to close their business down for a long time. You have to figure that out. So, keeping, whether it's the concept, the design, or actually construction, you really want a committee of people understanding really how that's going to work.
So Katie, for the senior center, do we need to have lunches noticed, since several of us are there on an occasional?
If you're having lunch and socializing, that's not a
Perfectly
reason to, yeah.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as you're not discussing public business or business that would generally be discussed here.
Okay.
So you'll be at the parade or something, and there'll be 3 or 4 trustees that are known about it. As long as you're keeping it social and so forth, it's great.
Okay, thank you.
And there's not 3 of us talking together.
And you shouldn't be talking about business. But if you're talking about your kids and so forth, great.
Yeah, well, So in the past, I was always told when I was on the previous board, it's like, it's probably just to not have that doubt or
Yeah, the
whatever that we are
appearance.
the appearance, yeah, that.
Precisely.
You know, three of you talking together is probably a bad idea. Try to just keep it to two.
Good for you. Right on. Yeah, that's a good model to live by, for sure. But if it should happen, just keep it social.
Have a beer and enjoy the
That's
day.
right.
I think these other question marks, elected officials going to these meetings, I think it's important that we do that now. I know Ashley did that, the bulk of that before, but with our budget season coming up, we can have an additional elected official in addition to the current staff, and that can give us a couple of perspectives on what actually our voice is at the table and what we're spending for that voice.
I'd be willing to do the Southwest Transportation planning.
Happy to work on those streets. I'd take the Economic Alliance.
I would be happy to do the Region 9.
I think so.
What about planning commission?
The planning commission is the mayor as ex officio. That's in the municipal code.
Okay.
So how about this, Mr. Mayor? Can you take the planning commission and I'll do the Southwest TPR?
All right.
So that's a switch, Nyberg, Southwest TPR?
Correct.
Cool.
I'll take the tree board. That would work going on that.
We do
I went to their meeting, it was pretty exciting.
You get to hand out prizes.
Oh.
Not breaking your arm or anything, are we?
No, 5 times a year I can do that.
Okay.
Unless, yeah, you sure, Cash?
I'm good. I was gonna do the Mill Street, because I live down there, so.
Use more than one.
It can be 2 of you if you'd like.
It may not hurt to have two of you,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
if you're.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, it could be a big deal.
With my experience in construction and stuff and
Right.
everything like that, I feel like I could be a help there. And I live pretty much on Mill Street.
So that's all of them, I believe?
That's all the committees. The liaison was basically just put together, a while back. You can think on that one for a while if you want. I think every June I came to the board and asked kind of where they wanted to go, and it was a lot more informal after this first one. But it's just clear that you're not making decisions. You're not directing staff, you're part of the process of getting information and sharing it back to the board and being kind of at the table, so.
I think I heard in our training that, whoop, somebody else say something. That's Kat. Oh, go ahead, Kat.
Oh, that's all right. So I just want to make sure that you guys know you said take Region 9.
I got you on Region 9.
Okay, great. And then I would also participate in Mill Street.
Well, I can't have 3. Currently, I have McLaurin and Snooks as.
Great, perfect. All right, I did think that too. I knew you had one. Just wanted to double check.
What's the pleasure of the board with the liaison program? Do you want to discuss that now, or?
I think it'd be good to get it over with, just have it done and move on.
think I heard in our training that it wasn't really recommended, that really that is your territory, Katie, and I would like to see no liaison program, just Katie and her staff, unless there's another
Well, I mean, for like the liaison that I did was partially it was finance. I'm in the finance industry, and it was like if Kathy had questions, we met at one point to talk about some banking things that they wanted to do via the IntraFi prior to bringing it to the board, just to get some, information from somebody who has some knowledge in it.
Can we do
so
that?
there, and I think what they were talking about was the personnel piece.
Can we do that on a case-by-case basis?
Well, if you're set up as the liaison, then they just, if
We
they
just
have
know
that
to
question,
contact that
they know
person.
who to go to. That's all it is.
We have Joe Stevenson Park, that we have a master plan now. I'm not sure about the funding, so there's some other things. And I know that this may be a lot, even if it's just a finance liaison for now. And then as you get more comfortable with some of the things that are going on, maybe after May 2nd, when we talk about projects, maybe you may pick something that you would have some interest in.
My project, possibly.
Yeah, we can do it then after we have our meeting.
And I'm okay staying with finance.
If there's no objections.
So I know I'm going to be kind of get onto you about the microphone. I just want to make sure that you use that microphone because we're doing minutes, and I know that we have had concerns that they can't hear you on YouTube, and of course, Mr. Wynn here today. So.
So when we were just talking, and I don't know if it was heard, but I think they agreed that I would stay as the finance liaison, and then we would take it by a project, who the liaison would be for per project basis.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. And I don't know if it sounds like it's on. It doesn't to me. I'm pretty close.
We can't tell.
I can tell.
Can't hear anything. Can't hear it.
The closer you are, the better. So I know that I got all these screaming people on my pictures at the agenda, and people get tired of it, but I'm trying to remind you that it is important for staff and the community as a whole to know what you're discussing.
Well, I will say, like, I can't tell that it's on, and I've done
We can
plenty
tell.
of public speaking, and I can't hear it.
Honestly, I can't.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you when you get close to it.
People speak into that microphone, I can't even tell they're in the microphone. Well, maybe over
Well, these
over
are really
there I
good.
can.
Just so you know, these are great microphones that you have that are at the dais. So
Okay. We'll try to be more vigilant.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So next up would be the bio for the website, photos.
So we would really like, 2 years ago, we were still struggling to get our new website up, and our website is now operational. We'd really like to get a bio, 100 words. It doesn't have to be complicated. You can make it as simple as you want. If you want to make it long, we'll be more than happy to post that, but we'd also like to get a photograph. Not tonight, but if you can send us a headshot that you would prefer, or we may start taking our iPhone and doing photos, but that's up to you. I think it's important that we have that bio on our website.
And do you want us to send it to you?
Send it to me.
Okay.
That would be great.
And then the mailbox, CML emails, and SERSA training materials.
Yes, so there is a mailbox here at Town Hall with your name on it, and you're going to be getting mail here. So feel free anytime to come pick it up. We also, during meetings, we also distribute it. Whatever is in a mailbox, we distribute it to you. So you don't have to worry about it. We're not hiding it or saving it. You're going to get emails from CML. I don't know if you've got your town email set up, but Uriah will set up your email on the Surface tablets. And so when we get them set up, we'll have Glenn or somebody call you and say, hey, come pick it up so that you're ready to go. And he should give you all the instructions. If you want it on your phone, you're going to have to just talk to him directly, because sometimes different phones, I'm not going to be your IT person, and different phones are going to react differently to Outlook emails. So, and anytime somebody sends me a letter that says wants to go to all of the board members, I usually send it to all of the board members, blind copy, and to the leadership team and to the attorney, depending on what it is. Whether it's paper or email, I always make sure that I've distributed it to everybody. I don't, there's no fear that it's gonna end up, in a dark box in my box, because I make sure you get it. You're also going to get training materials as well that may show up in your box. But anyway, it's your mail. So.
Any questions?
How often should we be getting CML emails?
You're going to get them probably once a week.
Oh.
Minimum.
Oh, okay.
And if you're not getting any emails, you may be have to blocking them, and you need to go to your spam or junk filter. So if you're not too sure, if you're not getting anything, you need to go and make sure that it's approved to come to your email.
Okay.
Because that's going to happen.
I don't have anything.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I don't think I am either. Any other questions, comments? Okay, moving on to the new board action agenda. First up would be the shade structure for Mesa Playground.
And the last
prior
board just
one
approved that
approved it.
one. So if
Oh, that's right. So we did that one.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. So I guess you're going for a walk.
Yep.
Next up's a shared use path.
They make you close the door
I think we're ready.
So the shared use path, we do have a lowest bidder. It's $1,025,000. It is approximately $90,000 will have to come out of your sidewalk a construction fund to pay for the rest of that. We have almost $1,025,000 of grant money. But you have about $90,000 in engineering that we've already spent on that project. So you have sidewalk funds, and you do have a budget. So in your budget, under streets, on page 42, if you actually have the budget with you, and everybody should have got a paper copy of one, and if not, make sure that I know. There is the center sidewalk section of Mill Street and revitalization plan is $525,000 that we budgeted for. There's no way you're going to get to construction on Mill Street, especially the middle of it, in 2024. You may not even get to it in 2025. So you do have some funds that you can use for the shared use path, if you prefer. And the one thing I don't have is construction management. So Bechtel is a company, engineering company that I'm seeking a proposal from. I don't know if it's $60,000 or $120,000 or $200,000. I don't know what it's going to be, and it's not fair to guess. But we kind of come to a point where there's a lot of things hinging on it. So these are all the forms that we have to get put together. and send to CDOT. They have to send it to headquarters, basically because they have to award, and then we concur, or they concur with us on our award. So there's a lot of projects, and Jane's was the lowest bidder. If we take too long, they're just going to decide to move on to another project. Now, it may seem like, well, why are we going to budget another, guess 90,000 plus whatever the construction management is for this project, not knowing what it's going to be. The thing is that all of this funds started with the Southwest TPR. So the Southwest TPR is also going to be your neighbors in favor of helping Bayfield fund the intersection, the light, on the east side of Bayfield. And it may seem like, well, we have a guess, but I kind of need to know if you're willing to at least move forward. We don't have a construction management proposal. I don't have a quote to even do that. But their hang up has been Troutner, who does basically the structural part of it. They can't, and I know Troutner's really busy, and they're the ones that are significant to get their proposal to us. So there's a lot of moving pieces in this process. There was a link to the plans. The plans are final. The plans have been bid on. We did receive the bids. There was a very low bidder and a qualified bidder as well. So we have that. So I kind of think it's going to take discussion amongst the board to determine what you would like to do. We don't meet again until May 7th. So by that time, you may lose a contractor, we may lose an engineer, and who knows if Troutner will ever get back to Bechtel. But there are other companies that maybe Bechtel can reach out to. And I think you had somebody else on East Mill Street.
We did. So we used a different geotech company out of Albuquerque for the East Mill sidewalk. I don't have the contact information of
Albuquerque?
Yeah, we couldn't get Ye or Troutner out here to do the geotech for the retaining wall. So we ended up contracting with a geotech company out of Albuquerque that did our geotech report for the Buck Highway portion of the Mill Street sidewalk.
So you said that 90,000 of it, we actually don't have budgeted towards this, but there's enough funds in the sidewalk for it, sidewalk fund. How does that affect the sidewalk project?
So the actual sidewalk for Mill Street really won't get done until possibly 2026,
Okay.
or end of 2025. It's a complicated project just to get the community involved. Then you got to design it, and of course you have a lot of time. But the Main Street revitalization money is a lot easier to fund for than the funds that is doing the shared use path.
Right.
Keep in mind that if we had decided before, we've got two extensions. The Southwest TPR is basically the anointing committee that says that you can have an extension. Of course, and CDOT takes that into consideration before they give us an extension. Had we given that money back before the first extension, it could have gone to another Southwest project. In this case, it's too late.
So,
Katie, I'd like to ask, the sidewalk monies that are there, how in the past has that money been used? Is it for town repairs where, somebody trips over a sidewalk somewhere and they complain that it's really a bad hazard? Is that also monies that are pulled out of that sidewalk?
No.
Or is there unknown monies that are spent for other sidewalk issues, and on average, about how much money has been spent for those issues? So if we pull this money out of that fund, because we're already committed to spend this grant, what are the risks of utilizing that money? If we didn't have it, what would it go to normally?
So any sidewalk repairs is not going to be something that we would fund out of. It would be basically kind of repair and maintenance. And this would be for major projects, like we extended the Clover sidewalk to match the Orchard and Clover subdivision between, and I'm gonna get the streets from Daylily or Lupine. There we go. Between so we used part of that, but it was a capital improvement project. It was a sidewalk we needed to do to basically connect those two subdivisions together. So it's really capital. The $525,000 is basically going to go right back. You know, it's going to stay in the street fund for as long until you have another capital improvement project to do that with.
So really, there's no downfall in contributing that money to go ahead and get started on this this shared path. Is that correct?
Well, there's a decision you have to make. I can't say whether or not it's a downfall, but I would say that you have funds that you've budgeted already for sidewalks. In this case, you're just going to take it from a Mill Street project that's not going to get done in 2024, possibly not 2025, and move it to another sidewalk trail on Sauer and Wolverine and Bayfield Center.
And that shared path really needs to be replaced. I walk it almost every day, and it's got a lot of problems. So personally, I think that this is a necessary decision to go forward with. And you know, 2026 is quite a ways out before we can get to Mill Street. So I'm not seeing a negative in doing this.
Does that mean you're making a motion?
Or you can make a motion.
I don't think she heard you.
Does that mean you're going to make a motion, Kat?
Oh, sorry, I thought you were making a motion. I'm having a hard time with the way it's coming through, sorry about that. I'd like to make a motion to reappoint the $90,000 from the sidewalk project to the shared path.
Does that include a construction management, which would be an additional, it's a guesswork of what that's going to be? Yes. It doesn't, I mean, you still have the chance to approve the engineering, but.
What?
Yes, and I understood that, so I feel yes.
Any idea what that number is going to be?
I don't.
We won't know till the numbers come in.
Mm-hmm.
I'll second it.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Can we get roll call?
All right. Trustee Nyberg.
Yes.
Trustee Hartz.
Yes.
Trustee Katsos.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee McLaren.
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes. Nicole, I think you're up for the resolution for the noxious weed management plan.
Yes, so I'll say again to the new board, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. So this item, I think maybe all but Laura has heard because it was in Planning Commission and the Board of Trustees already. And I think, Laura, you have been at the meetings where we've talked about it. But the noxious weed management plan, you know, the state of Colorado does have a noxious weed act, and our code did not comply with the Noxious Weed Act, and so we have been recently contacted by the state to remind us that we do need to come into compliance. And part of that was an ordinance creating the noxious weed code section, as well as abatement process, which we updated the nuisances so it's consistent with that. So that was the first step, and then the second step is to adopt a noxious weed management plan. And this management plan is adopted by resolution, so it can be amended from time to time, easier than an ordinance. And then the planning commission would be the commission that would oversee enforcement and education, working with staff closely on that, and then propose any changes to it would come to the Board of Trustees for ultimate approval to either ordinance changes or an adopted amended management plan in the future. And so staff did put together the management plan. We used state resources as well as La Plata County has a really good noxious weed website and information that we put together. The noxious weeds that are pretty much the type of weeds that we see in our area. And it's not all inclusive. I'm sure there's going to be new weeds all the time that we're going to see, but these are the ones that you see the most in our area. But there's also state list A and B, which we do need to also comply with. And what this plan does is it just outlines the process for how to get rid of certain types of weeds, and they're all different. They all have different means of getting rid of them, and so with their control measures. And so this just kind of outlines that, and therefore, again, it's going to be needed to be updated from time to time when new information comes out. The ordinance does have a process, like I said, for enforcement, but what we heard from the Planning Commission and the Board of Trustees is we wanted to be more educational on this versus really heavy-handed with enforcement, and put together the resources when someone has noxious weeds on their property, provide them the resources to help them get rid of those versus just a heavy-handed enforcement. So that's what we really tried to concentrate on, was an education piece. I'm going to be putting together a template letter that will just kind of outline, we found noxious weeds, or it's been determined there's noxious weeds on your property. Here's some resources to help you get rid of those, and start with that type of letter versus just an enforcement letter, and you have this many days to get rid of it. So, and then reaching out to the HOAs was another comment that we received, to make sure that they understand it and they know how to work with their homeowners as well as their common properties, to make sure that they comply with the requirements. And then the other piece is the public land. So we need to get more diligent about controlling noxious weeds on public land, whether that's right away or in our parks and open space. And so hopefully this will help our team have the information they need to also be able to tackle the noxious weeds that we find on public lands in the town limits. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, but there is a resolution. The Planning Commission did also review this, and they did make a recommendation to adopt the management plan.
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to approve Resolution 612, Noxious Weed Management Plan.
Second.
Can we add the findings A and B?
From the staff report?
Yes. I would amend that to add A and B from the staff report.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call?
Trustee Nyberg?
Yes.
Trustee Hartz?
Yes.
Trustee Katzos?
Yes.
Trustee Snooks?
Yes.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee McLaren?
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yay. Next up is the Wells Liquor 2024 renewal.
With every liquor renewal, I've reached out to staff, meaning Nicole and Chief and Katie, and we've had no negative input on renewals. I do that. I forward it every renewal I get, and I had no negative input from staff on that. They have paid their fees, and they expire, I don't have it in front of me, I believe in June.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the Wells Liquor renewal.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Roll call?
Trustee Nyberg?
Yes.
Trustee Hartz?
Yes.
Trustee Katzos?
Yes.
Trustee Snooks.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin.
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yay. Tamarack Concrete Bid Award.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Board of Trustees. As you know, we're getting ready to pave Los Pinos and Tamarack. With that, Tamarack's got some concrete work that needs to be done. There's a couple busted curb and gutters and some gutter pans that aren't draining correctly. We went out to bid, came back at $51,035. We still fall under our $500,000 budget, and it leaves us about 20 grand left over for compaction testing.
So the 51 is included in the 479?
Yeah, that would be the total cost with the concrete and the asphalt.
Okay.
That cost doesn't include the compaction testing because I don't know what that is until we order it.
And we can't get a hold of them.
But we have just a little over $20,000 left over for compaction testing.
Okay. Is there any questions from the board?
Is this a local company?
I have a couple. Did somebody else speak before me?
Yeah.
Yes. Hang on, Kat.
Okay, no problem.
Is this a local company?
Yes.
Okay, Kat.
All the companies I reached out to were local except for Advanced Concrete, and they're out of Durango.
I like local.
Go ahead, Kat.
Trustee?
Okay. My question is, the repair that's gonna go on here, was the damage due to poor installation of stormwater management and erosion control?
I don't believe so. It's just the concrete's old. It's been hit with plows. Drain pans, they sometimes fail due to poor compaction when it was installed. There's 101 reasons why.
Okay. Is the repairs that are gonna be done, is that, more or less, going to happen again? Is the repair going to be the same as it was, and what are the risks of that same sort of damage to this?
With the new concrete that we put in and the new asphalt, we shouldn't have to touch this, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 years?
Yeah, this is a reconstruction, not a repair.
So, they're gonna do a complete mill of Tamarack and recompact everything and bring all that asphalt, new asphalt in there. And we just wanna repair the concrete that's busted now, so we're not doing it after we put new asphalt down.
And then what about the site restoration and revegetation? What does that entail?
There's gonna be very minimal, vegetation disruption, because the concrete work that we're doing is, the gutter pans, it's all on the street except for the one portion of curb and gutter, and we'll go in on topsoil and resheet it back to its original condition.
Okay, great, thank you for answering my questions.
Anything else?
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to award CPC Construction the concrete flat work for the Tamarack Los Pinos Street Project at $51,035.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Nyberg.
Yes.
Trustee Hartz.
Yes.
Trustee Katzos.
Yes.
Trustee Snooks.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin.
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yay. I'm catching up. Next up is the data safe discussion regarding the IT.
Well, we paid for 1 gig of internet service to the town. Basically, our real issue is Spillman, which is a police department integrated dispatch system. And this may not look like a bottleneck, but these dinosaur phones only allow 100 megs through them. So that means that wherever there's a computer and a phone, there's a bottleneck that does not allow 1 gig basically to pass through. So you may remember, or for the new board members, we did order new phones. They should be able to handle 1 gig, and that means also cords as well can also be a bottleneck as well. What we thought was going to be a difficult process to determine where these bottlenecks were, we found out that it was simpler than we thought. Thank goodness phones are already on the way. I don't know if Chief, if you wanted to add anything.
Spillman brought about the IT issue, but then Spillman brought about the IT issue that we had as a town hall whole. And doing the research I did with DataSafe and everything like that, bringing them in, it was found out that the pipeline between here and Cortez had some issues that was DataSafe. And then when we did the research on how the internet, the new 1 gig was being brought in, that's when they found out that the phones were the bottleneck, that it was not allowing the full 1 gig service to our buildings. So the plan is, with the new phones, they'll have their own separate pipeline, and they're going to put a switch inside our portion of the building that will separate the connectivity, which will allow everybody to have full free use of the 1 gig service, and there's not going to be a bottleneck anymore. So that's what was found out last Thursday when we did all the pipeline running with DataSafe, Motorola, which is at Spillman, and us, the county, everybody. We had to work together to figure out where the blockages were, and the result is the phone.
And are they charging us for that switch, or they?
They got us a used one for $75.
Okay, I can handle that.
Yeah, so can we.
We asked.
So I have nothing further, and I
Okay.
just wanted to make
This is
sure
a
that you're
unique
aware
one.
of what we found.
Okay.
Cool.
Next up is Resolution 613, appointments.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Alexis Hart, Mayor Pro Tem.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Roll call?
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
Trustee Hartz,
Yes.
Trustee Katsas,
Yes.
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee Moreland,
Yeah.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yay.
And then I guess, Mayor, adding to that we appoint Kristen Dallison to approve the minutes of the Planning Commission and the town recommendation for the motion designate as the Mayor Pro Tem and approve 611 appointees.
There's a motion on the table.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Roll call?
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
Trustee Hartz,
Yes.
Trustee Katsas,
Yes.
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee Moreland,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yay. And next up is the Resolution 614, authorized bank signatures, signers. If we're gonna put another trustee on here, it should be somebody that's probably around town fairly often. I'm not saying all the time, but
And it does require some computer savvy, basically, to approve payroll if that ever happens. So, I mean, we'll be happy to show you how to do that, but, employees don't get paid when they expect it. Sometimes that can be an issue.
I'd say.
As a bookkeeper, I do many clients' books for them, and it requires a lot of banking interfacing. And I live in town, close enough. If there's anything that needs to be signed on, more than likely I could do that, and especially do it via the internet. So there's just some background, and I have a lot of experience with this, but it's up to the board.
Is that all we need? One more signer?
yes.
So, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to designate the following 4 bank signers and approve Resolution 614, authorized bank signers, including Mayor Thomas Awe, Trustee Kat Katzos, Town Manager Kathleen Sickles, and Public Works Director Jeremy Schultz.
I second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
Trustee Hartz,
Yes.
Trustee Katzos,
Yes?
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee Moreland,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yay. I'd like to remind the board that there's a BOCC meeting on Monday at 7:30. The rest of the updates are all there. We're having a Board of Trustees retreat on May 2nd. I urge everyone to write down 3 or 4 things that you would like to see, direction that you want to see the board move in, or areas that you think we need to kind of prioritize and move forward with, so that we can discuss those. And if you can, get those lists out to Katie so the staff can be prepared for that. A short list is fine. I mean, we don't need, 3-page list. Just a couple of things from everybody would be great. We only have a few hours. And then again, there's a CIRSA training in Mancus on the 15th, and then the CML district meeting in Cortez coming up. And with that, congratulations.